yesterday, the governor announced that all new cars purchased in New York State will be zero-emission cars, which is what lawmakers in California mandated in our state last month. This will take effect starting in 2035, if we make it to 2035. And while it's never going to be the same, when a cabbie's yelling at you to go F yourself from a Nissan LEAF, it's definitely for the best.
Hello and welcome to episode 133 of the Clean Energy Show. I'm Brian Stockton.
I'm James Whittingham. This week, small modular nuclear reactors will not solve climate change. This in spite of the fact one powers Brian's $1,700 espresso machine.
It was only $1,400. Loblaws has deployed fully driverless trucks on city streets in Toronto. There is still a human in the passenger seat, just as a courtesy so other drivers have someone to give the finger to.
We reveal the stupidest place in North America, and it's not wherever Donald Trump is.
The upcoming Tesla Cybertruck will work as a boat for short periods of time. If it floats, maybe it can toss a lifeline to the Tesla stock price.
Oh, all that and more of this edition of the Clean Energy Show. Brian, we also have this week my first repair to my Nissan LEAF. It's 10 years old. And in spite of supply chain constraints, EV sales are back on track where they need to be by their 2030 benchmark for global warming targets. And Brian and I welcome the long-awaited third-party charging to a much-needed location where we live. And it has soft-serve ice cream.
Wow.
I could get into charging. Long charging sessions with lots of ice cream.
All right, so update on my house. We spray foamed the ceiling in our kitchen, and it was like super messy and dusty for about a week, but the drywallers have finished, so that's now all sealed up. It's
so drywallers, they have to keep coming back and back over and over again, don't they?
Yeah, like they don't have to spend a whole day. They come, they do some mudding, they have to let it dry, then they come back and sand, do a bit more mudding. So the whole thing took about 8 days, which wasn't too bad. But the kitchen was kind of closed off with sheets of plastic. And so we had kind of limited access to our kitchen, which was annoying. But that's now all done. And then next week, they're going to do the other half where the living room is. And so it continues. So we'll have a very well insulated ceiling, which is great.
Did you eat out a lot?
We did a lot of door dashing and that kind of thing, yeah.
What's your favorite during that time period?
What's my bar burrito? I'm a big fan of bar burrito.
What kind of food is that?
Mexican burritos and tacos.
So what specifically did you eat? I need to know.
Oh, ground beef burrito.
Ground beef burrito. Classic. Nothing too fancy. Nothing too unusual. So, but you're a Taco Time fan. But you like that. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I think bar burritos, it's a little bit more like real food.
Really? How much does it cost?
Taco Time's very fast foody kind of thing, but...
How much more expensive would you say it is?
Not 20%.
Maybe I should try it. They have multiple locations or just one?
No, multiple locations. Let's do it.
Bar burritos. Well, we could use a sponsorship on the show, too.
Please, reach out. Bar burrito. Oh, I have another one. Milu, Vietnamese place. It's been here a while, but I just discovered it. Fantastic Vietnamese, vermicelli noodle bowls. Love it. Amazing. I guess we both got the bivalent vaccine. Is that what's?
Yeah. I had a lot of side effects. I might still be feeling it after a week. I mean, it was mainly one day, but it was, I kind of felt good the second day, but then when I actually did something, and when I mean did something, I mean go to the fridge or something. Yeah. I didn't have a lot of stamina. Like it wore down fairly quickly. It's a good thing I wasn't, employed or something. Yeah. So yesterday, we had wonderful news because we've talked about the two cities in the province where we live, is Regina and Saskatoon. They're 2.5 hours away. My son is up there now, coming back on Friday, and he's going to school there. We make lots of trips. You make lots of trips. You make more trips than most people do up there. And it's a stupidly great city. Yeah. It's just... I don't know if I've told this story before, but once I was doing a Madly Off in All Directions, a CBC radio comedy series, a one-off where I was guesting on stage at the Broadway Theater in front of 500 people with my comedy partner. And we naively, we both grew up in Regina, the sister city kind of to that city. And we said, we're from Regina. And the whole place booed us. Why? Why would they do that? I had no idea that they hated us just because we have the center of government here. I mean, they have everything else. It was a beautiful city.
And my assessment of the situation is the people in Saskatoon have a rivalry with Regina, but the Regina people don't care.
I've always considered them superior. Why would they care? Why would they not just pity us? Now they're much bigger. When I was a kid, they were smaller than us.
That's right.
So the halfway point is a town called Davidson, Saskatchewan, and it got a Tesla V3 supercharger stalls a few years ago, right? 2-3 years ago?
Yeah, about 3 years ago.
Which changed life for Teslas. People like you could easily go to Saskatoon and top up for the hell of it, or, use it in very cold weather when your range is reduced and give you security.
Yeah, and it was one of the reasons I bought my Tesla, was it made that trip viable.
But there was no third-party charger there.
Yeah, for 3 years.
And we've been begging them, begging everyone online. I've been, tweeting A&W, who has, there's these cluster of different businesses there. Tim Hortons, the Esso station, which is one thing, and a Dairy Queen. And then there's across the street, there's an A&W, which I sometimes go to. You've gone to the A&W? Surely you've gone there. You've probably done everything there. But up the road, there's a Co-op gas station, and that's where the supercharger is. That's kind of the Prairie gas station, one of the, brands that also run grocery stores. So they have that, but they just announced yesterday they're getting the flow chargers, which are 100 kilowatt. Before, these gas stations had different branded chargers, which were 50 kilowatt, and they were always broken, like always.
Yeah, the Co-op branded ones, yeah.
So apparently these flow chargers are, I'm told by the EV Association, a lot more rock solid, because it's something we talk about on the show all the time, is the reliability of charging non-Teslas, like non-Tesla charging networks, are terrible. And I hear that all the time, especially in the States, it's no different. So I naively expressed regret online yesterday that I wished it was at the place where I go, which is the A&W, and I don't go to the Tim Hortons, but it seems like I might, because I enjoy the Tim Hortons donut shop in Regina. And I found out that the EV people have been trying really hard for years, behind the scenes to do something. And I'm not supposed to talk about what went on, but I'm very happy that the Co-op is in charge, Brian. But I also made a joke online. I said, when I said that I wish, why wasn't it at this other place? They said, are you disappointed? I said, I'm not disappointed. The Co-op responded to me and said, are you disappointed? I said, no, but I will be reviewing your pizza thoroughly. They said they welcomed it. Then they offered to give me free pizza. So,
what?
But is it a review if they give you free pizza? I mean, is it an honest review if you get something for free? I mean, as a clean energy food critic, I should be, going in there in disguise or something.
Yeah,
that's just the way it is.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is great. And I should add too. So Tesla has finally made the CCS adapter available for Tesla vehicles in North America. So 99% of the time, if you've got a Tesla, you're going to charge at a Tesla station, and there's lots of them. But other cars use the CCS connector, and the adapter is finally available in North America. So if I were stuck sometime and the Tesla supercharger wasn't working, I could get this adapter and charge at the Flow or charge at the Co-op or whatever. Anyway, I went to order one online, and it said, oh, sorry, your car can't use this yet. We're going to do a retrofit next year. So cars built before a certain date are missing something that the CCS adapter doesn't work. So my car was built just before that date. So sometime next year, there'll be a retrofit available, and then I'll be able to buy one. So they didn't sell it to me. They're probably trying to control the number of these that go out. And since they know that my car can't use it, they wouldn't sell it.
How old is your Model 3?
It's about 2.5 years old.
2.5 years. Wow, time flies. That's a quarter of a decade, Brian.
It really has. Yeah. I mean, I guess we had just started the podcast, I think.
Oh, right. That's true. There was a couple months into the pandemic, and they did a touchless delivery to you.
Touchless delivery.
But I'm not done with the Riverbend Co-op in Davidson, because I asked them, I was in a discussion with my son who's going through there on Friday, as I said, if they have fresh donuts, because the co-ops are known for great donuts at their grocery stores.
Yeah.
And especially in small towns. They're somehow better in small towns like that.
Yeah, for sure.
My wife's
small
town of
towns.
Ladina, Saskatchewan, is maybe the best donuts in Saskatchewan outside of the gourmet shops. So anyway, I asked them if they did, and they said no. But for you, though, I can say we are discussing it. So now they are discussing it at the highest levels in the boardroom of the Davidson Co-op, whether to bring in fresh baking from the grocery store inside town. And I said, well, give us a heads up when you're passing through. At least we can do is get some donuts to the gas bar for you. And everyone is just so happy that, because without the co-op, we would not have charging in Davidson.
Yeah.
There was no other possibility to do it. No one willing to do it. So this is incredibly important to EV adoption for people who not only live near there, but live anywhere else, or you're traveling through the province in that direction. And so I'm incredibly grateful to them. And Matthew Pointer from the Sask EV Association says this is arguably one of the most important charging locations in the province. So Brian, what I did, I made them a commercial.
Okay.
I made the Riverbend Co-op in Davidson a commercial because they deserve it, and here it is. Come to the Riverbend Co-op gas bar in beautiful Davidson, Saskatchewan, conveniently located on scenic Highway 11. Enjoy our pristine citrus-scented washrooms as you stop to charge your Tesla at one of our lightning-fast superchargers. And for our non-tech industry friends, we are pleased to announce 100-kilowatt flow chargers coming in January. If you're still driving a gas guzzler, be assured that we here at Co-op sell only top-tier gasoline, made to the highest Canadian standards. While you're here, satisfy your cravings with fresh-cut veggies and sandwiches lovingly made at our grocery store just for you. Or twist it up with a smoothie by mixing a slushy soft drink of your choice with ice cream. Why pee anywhere else? The Riverbend Co-op in Davidson. More than a gas bar, it's a heavenly oasis on the long road home. This commercial has not been approved by Riverbend Co-op. Flow chargers coming early 2023. Not responsible for ice cream drips on your full leather seats.
Very nice.
So there you go. Free commercial for the Riverbend Co-op. I'll put that online too in video form. Thank you, Riverbend Co-op, for being good people.
Yeah, in Davidson, Saskatchewan, they still had a newspaper as of a couple of years ago, and they were having a contest to give away the newspaper. I don't know if you remember that.
I considered it.
Yeah, and you were supposed to write a letter, and whoever writes the best letter would get the newspaper.
I don't know whatever happened with that.
Yeah,
maybe somebody knows.
We'll have to Google it.
We have a lot of local people listening. Okay, another personal news. The LEAF I had to take in to get fixed because I determined for a long time now, almost a year, that I had this tire noise, and I thought it was because my original tires were wearing out. They were becoming bald, and I thought, okay, no tread, they're becoming noisy. Bought new tires, but they were cheap. They were half the price of the tires that you're supposed to buy. And so I thought, okay, well, it's a bit better, but it's still pretty noisy. And then they get noisier and noisier. So I determined through online sleuthing that it's my bearings, my wheel bearings on my front left wheel. And because it gets noisier when you steer in one direction than the other. So I did that, and but there's no place, my Nissan dealership doesn't service EVs, and I looked up on how to do this repair.
Yep.
And you do have to kind of take one of the EV motor drive components out of the wheel hub, because it's a whole, not just the actual little tiny bearing, but a whole hub of bearings that has to be replaced. And you need specialized torque tools in order to do this. And I considered it, but then I thought no. And anyway, I got the price from a place called OK Tire on Park Street in Regina, because they are certified. They actually sent their people away to the United States to get training in servicing EVs and hybrids. Whereas the one Nissan dealership we have here, and even several around us, they're not certified to do EVs, even though Nissan sells the LEAF for, well, my car is 10 years old, and 12 years ago they started selling them. So it was frustrating, but I took it there on the advice of others, and I wasn't happy with how it went, because it's $1,400 for the front two hubs, and I thought it was just one hub, but they say, oh no, the other one's going to be making noise as well. And they charge you like $200 just to diagnose things, okay?
Right.
You know, it could be $200 to diagnose it. But then they diagnose everything on your car and give you a big printout to make sure that everything else is okay and they don't need to spend money fixing it of your money. So that's complimentary. But, you know, to diagnose the problem is up to $200. So it's just BS. And I hate dealerships, and I can't afford it. So I'm in a pickle because my youngest is going on a school trip to Quebec because we sent the first one. And as soon as we send the first one somewhere, and my wife, by the way, wanted to send him to Uruguay, was it Ecuador? Is Ecuador to the, the ecological things out there. And I said, we do this, it's twice as much as you think it is because we have to send the other kid. There's no way of not sending the other kid. It doesn't work that way. So whatever you do for one, you do for the other. And so we're doing it for her now. And, we have to get her to raise money, but they don't raise very much. And it's going to be a hard economical year.
Bad timing. That's too bad.
And I'm giving away free commercials to Co-op gas stations. Anywho, that's that. The car is supposed to be done. The beautiful thing is I've lost the EV joy because it's noisy. It's not giving me the luxury. And I can't wait, Brian, to get that back. But I also have to get more work done on it later. It's all related to tie rods and ball joints and stuff like that. And they send you little video clips, part of their app to do that, to show you the wiggle.
It's always great when you can spend money and really notice a difference. Like that at least makes you feel better about it. Like our ceiling in the kitchen, like it cost a fortune to do that. And all it does is look like it's supposed to. All it does is look like a ceiling. You don't get any satisfaction of it suddenly somehow being better.
Right.
It just doesn't leak now.
This is hopefully something that I will just, fall in love with again. But I started to fall out of love with car ownership because it's been a long time since I had to deal with car repairs. Yeah. Because we've bought new cars, and the Leaf I've had for 5 years, and I haven't done anything to it. Like it's just, not even, there's no oil to change. There's nothing to break down. I did buy the new tires a year ago, but other than that, I haven't done anything. And it's,
How many kilometers on it?
About 115 or something like that. It doesn't have fast charging. Yep. It was a rock bottom price, so it's only been a city car for anyone. And but my family's been asking me how long do I think it's going to go, and I don't see it not going indefinitely. Like I don't have any reason to believe it won't go indefinitely.
But if you don't do the tie rods or something, then maybe the tires are going to wear out, and
the car could crash. Things like that. One of the wheels could go. I've seen people do this on the roads. Their wheel just goes all the way to one way, and you get it towed. And I won't be using it on the highway. Let's put it that way. So it's frustrating, and I can see the joy of maybe a subscription service to a robo-taxi one day where you pay $20 a month and you never have to worry about car repairs, because that is the biggest pain in the butt. That's why people buy newer cars in the first places.
No, that's the future for sure. I mean, that's so much simpler.
I've been talking about the pipeline plane that flies over my house, and then we got into it, and I had mentioned that there was a crash, 2013, and then there was one between our last two episodes of our podcast. Well, curiously, there's been no pipeline plane since that crash. So I got to feel weird about that. Are those, because I feel like I have a connection with them. Yeah. Because I'm in my Speedo floating in the pool. God knows we've had some intimate contact. You've never seen me in my Speedo. These people have, and now they're gone. They're perished. So I just feel, or maybe they've grounded pipeline planes, or I don't know. Yeah. Maybe they've just, but on the other hand, on the flip side, who's looking at my pipeline to see
that means it's not being inspected? Yeah.
So that's kind of, concerning for me as well. So here's a bit of trivia for you. In the year my Leaf was made, 2013, 130,000 EVs were sold globally that whole year, Brian. Yeah. And now more than that are being sold every week in the world. And that rate, of course, is expanding rapidly.
That's fantastic. That's great to hear.
So my Leaf is like almost, I've seen it referred to in videos on YouTube now by car reviewers as kind of like the Model T of EVs, because it was the first mass produced. It was produced even before Tesla's Model S. So it was really the first mass produced EV in the world. So it's iconic. Maybe it'll be worth something someday. And I wanted to get to some updates to some stories that we've covered in the past. And we were talking about, hurricanes in Florida, and Will Walker in Florida. He was happily charging his all-electric Chevy Bolt at a gas station charger while all the gas pumps were roped off not because of electricity. The gas station was out of gas.
Yeah.
And you can't just snap your fingers and get more gas in when there's a hurricane. So these places, and we found this in the Maritimes of Canada when Hurricane Fiona went through a couple of weeks ago, gas stations are out of gas because everybody wants their generator running and everything, right?
Yep.
Well, this is another reason. Gas stations don't operate with electricity during these situations, but they often don't operate when they do have electricity because they're out of gas.
Yeah.
So, but he had electricity there and he was happily charging away. So he says, I can't count all the times that people ask me about what do you do when the power goes out? So it's just a joke to people who own EVs.
Yeah.
The New York Times, Florida, the post-hurricane here, Jerry Jaworsk waited for about 6 hours to fill up for cans of gas. And he was frustrated. Where's all the fuel, he asked. Every gas station or filling station was supposed to, under Florida law, have a generator prepared to go at all times, but that did not happen.
Wow.
And in a news conference a couple Saturdays ago, Mr. DeSantis, or Satan, as I like to call him, said 1.6 million gallons of fuel had been moved to Southwest Florida, but he acknowledged that some stations may not have had the electricity to operate their pumps. I'm laughing. If you're in Florida, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the whole freaking idea and stupid things that happen.
You need both. You need the fuel and you need the electricity. And on the electric car side, you just need the electricity.
We've been talking about India a lot over the course of our podcast episodes, and we have concerns over the air quality and how great it would be for EVs to move in there. Well, Tata Motors, one of India's largest vehicle manufacturers, has announced a new made in India electric 5-door hatchback starting at around $10,000 US. And it only has a 19.2 kilowatt hour battery with only 3.2 kilowatts of charging. That's kind of what my car is now. It started at 24.
That's kind of your LEAF range and charging speed.
But get this, it's supposed to have a range of 250 kilometers.
Yeah, well, they've made improvements since your car was made.
Well, I'm thinking A, it's pretty darn light, and it may not have an airbag and or seatbelts or high-tension steel or anything to protect the person. I don't know. I'm being kind of cynical about it.
Yeah, but as we've talked about, there's a lot of like 2-stroke engine vehicles in India, small mopeds and motorcycles and stuff like that. And those things cause extra pollution. So if those kind of small vehicles, which is what this is going to sort of replace, can go electric, this will go a long way to improving the air quality in India.
So for around $14,500 US, drivers can upgrade to a 24 kilowatt hour battery. That is what my car was new at, but it has 315 kilometers of range and 7.2 kilowatt charging, which is twice of what my car does. So that's, well, I don't know, man. Maybe I should go to India and buy a car. Parts will be hard to get.
Yeah, so driverless trucks in Toronto, we have reported on this before, but there's sort of more updates for it. So there are level 4 autonomous trucks, which began in August after the Ministry of Transportation approved them for after a big audit. So this is Loblaws, the grocery chain from Canada, and they've got 5 routes going between Loblaws retail stores and a micro-fulfillment center. So you can order your groceries online, go to this place and pick them up. And this appears to be moving the groceries from the stores to this pickup center. So they've got 5 routes and 5 trucks. They are now driving fully autonomously. They do still have a human driver in the passenger seat. I'm not sure why he doesn't just sit in the driver's seat, just in case. But they say they're showing off. But they say they have a 100% safety record so far. This has been going on for quite a while now. And the person in the passenger seat is just there kind of as a courtesy, and also from feedback from the police department and the fire department, who said in case they need to pull the truck over, they wanted, a human to interact with. And that does make sense.
Don't we all?
And of course, these are electric and they can charge at sort of both ends of their trip. And that's what they do. And they're planning to expand this to something like 15 trucks in the near future. So yeah, level 4 autonomous trucks. So this is geofenced. It can only go on these specific routes. They couldn't just snap their fingers and expand this to other markets or other cities. They've carefully mapped out these routes, and the trucks take the same routes every day. But still quite remarkable that it is totally working, and they've, driven, tons of miles with these things, and 100% safe so far.
Color me surprised. I'm actually quite surprised by that. Especially, if you told me it was, Los Angeles docks or something, I would believe you. But I'm surprised it's Toronto.
Yeah, Toronto streets can be kind of busy and crazy.
That's an understatement and a half. Some of the worst traffic in North America.
But you just start thinking about the math for this in terms of business. So not only are you saving on fuel because it's electric instead of gasoline or diesel, and then saving on the driver. And just imagine as this slowly rolls out and expands, the amount of money that can be saved by so many businesses.
Expect your grocery prices to go down thanks to freedom of energy, the world, like that.
Let's hope. And I do use their service in our city. It's PC Express.
How's that work?
It works well. You order online, you pick up. We have had it delivered one time.
All right. I have an update from the International Energy Agency. And EVs are now at 13% of all new car sales globally this year. That's world market share.
That's
of new
fantastic.
vehicles.
I didn't know we were there yet.
That is an inflection point, Mr. Stockton.
Yeah.
We are toying with inflection rates here. It's doubled since last year. Wow. So that has not been happening. It's taken more than 2 years to double, a little bit more than 2 years. But now doubling in a year is, well, not 2 years. Sorry. It's like 17, 18 months or something weird like that, like a year and a half. But now it's a year. And we are on track, according to the IEA, of reaching, when they did the Paris Climate Accord, we need to do this, this, and this to reach our climate targets. Well, the number of EVs on the road by 2030 was a checkpoint goal, and they have saying that we are on track for it. In fact, we're better than on track. Areas not on track include improving the energy efficiency of building designs, developing clean and efficient district heating. That's when you hit, heat a neighborhood with one heating system. Phasing out coal-powered generation, that's a little behind, and eliminating methane flaring, shifting aviation and shipping to cleaner fuels, and making cement, chemical, and steel production cleaner. That's from CNBC.
Yeah, so the transportation sector doing well, these other sectors not so well.
Yeah, but it's encouraging because, we live in a place where there's so much cynicism about EVs that it's always good to see these stories.
Yeah, that's great. All right, well, we have several Tesla stories this week. The first was, of course, they had AI Day 2022, where they had a big presentation, basically a recruitment event. They're trying to convince people to come work for Tesla and work on their artificial intelligence stuff. They demonstrated the prototype of the Tesla bot. I didn't watch the whole thing because it was like 3 or 4 hours long. Yeah. I watched a condensed 20-minute version. So the robot doesn't do that much. So, the stock market and casual observers were not too
Question
impressed.
For you, was the robot more human than Elon Musk?
Yes.
It was? Okay.
But I don't know if you had any thoughts about the Tesla bot.
I do. And I did watch a lot of it. And I came away feeling pretty negative about Tesla and Musk and AI because, there was nothing major announced. The robots didn't impress a lot of people because who's the company? I can't remember the
Boston Dynamics.
Boston Dynamics, who's been making those robots that flip and dance, and they seem like years ahead. They're not humanoid, But do we need, what is the need of having a humanoid robot other than being creepy? I don't care what the thing looks like that does my dishes. It can look like a scorpion for all I care. Just do my dishes, you stupid robot, and answer my door and brush my teeth.
Well, I think it's the same principle behind like what they're doing with self-driving in the car. Like the idea behind the Tesla self-driving car is to replicate the human. So humans drive with eyes and a brain. So Tesla's taking that approach with their car, cameras and a computer, eyes and a brain in the car. So my feeling would be that since the world is designed for humanoid form, that's the most useful form for somebody who's going to do, work.
Well, are you going to test an FSD beta Tesla robot in your home and hope it doesn't break your dishwasher handle?
Sure. If they want to send me one, I'll take it.
The interesting thing is they think that one day they'll sell them for $20,000.
Yeah, that
US.
Seems low. I don't know if it
does. Does it, Brian? Does the $35,000 Model 3 seem low to you? That never happened.
It was sold for like a couple of weeks, I think.
Yeah, and very frustrating. Why announce these things? I just, you have to have faith in their AI software for cars. Yeah. We're not at that point yet. We're having a lot of faith because things are dragging on so slowly.
It's just a super long process. So, this stuff is potentially decades away.
So what bothered me about the event was they invited all their internet fanboys to it. So it became like a Tesla event, Ooh, yay, Elon, you're a god. Present your genitals. I wish to photograph them. This is stupid. I just hate that stuff. But it was the whole point of the event was to recruit because they want to bring on people to recruit. They need the best in AI people to develop this product. It's a recruiting day. Yeah. So why invite all the fanboys? I guess you get some free advertising that way, but it just seemed, I don't know. I'm pretty cynical about this, and I'm pretty cynical about Mr. Musk, who has decided apparently to buy Twitter.
Yeah, it sounds like that's going through, yeah.
And I'm not happy about that. I'm not. I'm not happy at all. Twitter's not golden. I need somewhere to go, Brian. I can't go on Facebook. That's not safe. It's killing the world. And now, he's going to put, what's his name back on there? The former POTUS. And, why couldn't a hurricane have killed him? Why is it killing innocent people? See him floating away on a piece of rock. Anyway, I don't understand. Like I'm worried. I'm worried about the world. And the world was quieter. It was quieter without him on it. And now he's going to be on it. And all these horrible voices of conspiracy and BS. And I don't know. I'm not happy with Musk. I mean, Musk is the guy I tout for saving the world because he puts a Cybertruck on stage, smashes the window, and suddenly Ford is releasing, electric trucks a couple of years later, right? I mean, they're in dealerships. They're at dealerships around our province even. A lot of them have moved here, I'm told. But, they're actually, kudos to Ford for actually making some vehicles, because, the Mach-E is like, I think the number 2 selling electric vehicle in North America.
No, there's actually some EVs in stock around us. And it's mostly the Mustang and the F-150. So, the needle has moved. And I guess we're at 13%. So
we're at a weird time where they say they have the stock and they don't actually have it.
Right.
It's coming in. It's like it's coming in to somebody who's ordered it. Right. So unless somebody cancels their order, and somebody did cancel their order for a Chevy Bolt, but it was an older one.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to take it. People were pointing me towards that. But I'm told there's a year wait list. But I mean, that's not bad for a truck. But I don't know.
Megapacks arriving in Hawaii. And I just wanted to mention this mostly because we had reported on the final shipment of coal going to Hawaii a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Their last shipment of coal for their coal-fired electricity plant, which they're going to close down. Well, it turns out at pretty much the same time, a whole whack of Tesla Megapack batteries were delivered to Hawaii. Hawaii's got a aggressive goal to get off fossil fuels. I think they've got some time. I think it was like 2045. They're going to be 100% green. I have a feeling they might be able to do it sooner than that. But, they have tons of solar. Hawaii has the highest amount of solar deployed per capita. And they just need more batteries, and they are on their way to 100% clean energy, which is great.
Yeah. Tesla, I mean, you don't hear about non-Tesla companies making power packs. I know they exist because
they do exist. Yeah.
They're putting some up around us. I don't know who's making them though. We don't hear about who's making them. I don't know. I mean, the main battery makers are probably making them, like LG and what's the other one? Panasonic.
Yeah. Or CATL. Yeah. I have heard other brands and their storage solutions. I just don't know off the top of my head.
Well, that's something to look forward to. It's pretty cool that Hawaii can do that. And, you know, most people disregard batteries. I say this all the time. They poo-poo them. Like, you can't power. I know it seems far-fetched because there's like thousands and tens of thousands and millions of little AA-sized almost batteries, right? That power a grid. Come on, that's science fiction. But they are doing it, and it works, and it meets the power fluctuations and saves them money. Instantly saves them money.
If you're a casual observer, it probably seems absurd, but you know, to the casual observer, I often hear hydrogen as the solution.
Yeah.
And but solar, wind, and batteries, as we often say, that's all you need.
It is all you need. Not for maybe airliners or stuff like that, but for a lot of things. And the Cybertruck, Musk has been talking about the Cybertruck as well.
Yeah, I guess prompted by the recent hurricanes and flooding in Florida, that the Cybertruck will travel temporarily as a boat for approximately 1,100 feet.
Really?
Yeah. It'll operate as a boat. That's Musk tweeted that.
That's enough to get through a flooded underpass.
Yeah. So we have seen this before, like with regular Teslas and flooded underpasses, that they can do fairly well getting through a big chunk of water.
We did have a guy in the EV Association who flooded his car in Saskatoon, and
other times,
insurance claim, big fat insurance claim, battery gone.
Ruined his battery. So it's certainly... and it's not an advertised feature, but this is now technically an advertised feature of the Cybertruck, that it can operate as a boat for a short period of time. So presumably they're just thinking about this more. I don't imagine they were thinking about it too much with the cars, but now that they know that the cars are fairly waterproof, they've, I guess, done a little bit of extra work, and Cybertruck will float for a while.
Well, the Rivian R150 pickup truck, the all-electric pickup truck from them, it was supposed to do 1.5 meters of water.
Oh, yep.
And they didn't say for how long. But they said anymore, and it floats. So they didn't want it to float, floating back.
Yeah, because then you lose control there, yeah.
Well, what do you do in the Cybertruck? Do you take out a paddle? I mean, what do you do?
I'm not sure, but they often show it with those big knobby tires. So it's possible the big knobby tires would give you a little bit of traction and steering.
Give me the aqua tread when you're ordering tires, like summer all season and water.
Well, there was that one
oceanic
aqua car. Somebody in town owns one from in the 50s. Somebody made a car that works as a boat.
Amphibious car, yes. It's a It's a convertible, right?
Yeah, it's a convertible. Somebody in town owns one, and every once in a while drives it in our local lake.
Which is saying a lot. You go down there, you're a dead person because it's nasty water.
Yeah, so it has technically been done before. I don't know, maybe they could add a little propeller on the back of because that's what the aqua car has, like the one from the 50s. It has a little propeller at the back for when it's floating as a car. Yeah, as a boat.
That'd be an option, I suppose. Maybe you could outboard it to your trailer hitch or something and just sort of put a propeller on back there.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Well, I wanted to talk a bit about small nuclear reactors because CBC had an article on it, and there's been, there's always lots of stuff. And I'm always reading from people. I'm not against it. It's just not realistic. People love the new solutions. We'll solve climate change with this. This is great. I saw a video on it. I saw 6 videos on it. It's great. It's not great because they don't exist. You can't go to Walmart and buy one. You can go to Walmart and buy a solar panel. You can go to Walmart and buy a battery. You can go to Walmart and even buy a wind turbine in some stores. Come on. What we have is all we need. And I'm not saying other things aren't good, but if they cost 10 times as much for 1 unit of electricity, and if you don't need them, then why are you wasting your time on it? Because our government, another government, and the Ontario government as well are investing, and they're going to waste all our money in these damn things, putting money into it, because it's also just delaying climate action.
Yeah.
So here's something. This is Suzanne O'Donnell. She is an adjunct professor with the University of New Brunswick, and St. Thomas University also works with the Coalition for Responsible Energy Development. And she has been researching SMRs specifically during the last 2 years. And she was asked, what do you think of Saskatchewan and your province looking at building a small modular nuclear reactor? And she says, there's a huge leap, she says diplomatically, there's a huge leap between having a design for an SMR and then getting to the point of having an engineer design where you can actually apply for a license to build one. The most advanced design for an SMR in the US is called NuScale, and they've spent almost $1 billion on the engineered design, and they just got a license to build it. It's another huge leap between building a prototype that might actually work in a laboratory to getting one that actually commercially works in the real world. Why then, she was asked, would 4 provinces be looking at them? And she says, I'd have to say that the decisions around SMRs at the federal level, and certainly at the provincial level, where they're all conservative provinces, are political decisions rather than based on science. From reading peer-reviewed science in 3 different countries, Canada, the US, and the UK, it really doesn't make any economic sense. However, what we have happening here is very, very powerful industry, the nuclear industry, that has a long history in Canada, and they have been lobbying like crazy to get these things off the ground because, unfortunately, nuclear power hasn't been very successful financially, especially lately. So in New Brunswick, the Pointe-la-Pure reactor has been a financial disaster for the province. It's put us $3.6 billion in debt. And that's what we have to look forward to in our province because of idiots.
I don't want any more debt. I don't want it.
No, we got enough debt. My God. But making stupid decisions because you want to put off the climate action and not make the woke left happy, then you got to do what you got to do and waste all taxpayers' monies, and you drive the provinces to the ground. So I'm mad about that. Mad. So it's bad. I don't like it.
Okay, so I've got a story here from CP24, which is a news outlet in the Toronto area of Canada. I thought it reminded me of the Apple story that we mentioned a couple of days ago, that Apple is working on software for their phones that will sort of calculate the cleanest time of the day to charge your phones. I don't know. There's just a lot of activity around smartening up the grid. And so what they're going to do in Ontario is pay some customers to run their air conditioning less as part of an investment in energy efficiency programs. So they're going to have networked smart thermostats in people's homes that can literally be controlled remotely by the power utility. So when they have these days when the grid is strained and everybody's air conditioning is cranked up, if you've agreed to be part of this program, you have one of these smart meters, they're going to creep up the temperature in your house, take away some of your nice cooling, airflow from your air conditioner. And if you've got enough homes in this program and enough people willing to do it, and they will pay you to do it, like there's an incentive to do it, they'll give you some money for this. They will just, turn up your thermostat a couple of degrees, and you'll use less electricity for your air conditioning. And, the more of these kind of smart grid strategies we can come up with, the more we can, weather these coming storms of, power supply as we kind of transition over into all clean energy.
Well, I'm surprised. I'm surprised that Ontario's doing that. And it's very interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it goes, what they learn from that. It reminds me of the summer heat wave in California where they texted people or an emergency alert and they responded. And they responded in times where they turned down their power because they said, if you don't, then we're going to have a power outage. I would rather have some power and maybe a couple degrees warmer in my house than no power at all.
And that's another great tool to have. But just imagine if, somebody at the California Power Commission just has a switch where they can just turn up everybody's air conditioning. Like, just imagine how that would drop the power going to the grid, like instantly. It'd be amazing.
I'm not sure what some people would like the government coming into their homes. But
you get paid for it.
But you get paid for it, so that you're compensated for it. That's the thing. But this is kind of the future, that when we talk about smart grids, we are also talking about, homes where we can suck a little bit of juice out of your EV for 10 minutes just to balance the grid. And you get paid for that, more than what it cost you to put it in. So, yeah, there's all kinds of different things. And if this is one of those methods, then cool.
No, and there was some progress on that in the U.S. They introduced the Bidirectional Act.
Right.
It was introduced in the U.S. Senate to promote electric school buses feeding into the grid. So I don't think this is all kind of fully passed or anything, but as they expand to electric school buses, they're trying to work this into the infrastructure where all of these school buses can feed into the grid. So it's nice to have some actual legislation to support that.
Coming up in the show is the lightning round, where we speed through the week's headlines in fast format. Brian, I've got a surprise new segment for you this week.
What?
It's called the Tweet of the Week. Oftentimes I see a great tweet that I like to highlight on the show.
Yeah.
This is until I leave Twitter next week.
Yeah.
When Elon Musk takes over. So it could be a very short-lived segment. Here it is. It says, who isn't in denial about climate change? The entire insurance industry. There will be entirely uninsurable areas of the populous places near coasts sooner than you think. This is from MMA, who works in the real estate industry and was retweeted by many of my climate follows on Twitter.
It's something I think about a lot, and Florida, of course, top of mind because of the recent hurricane, but Florida, so many low-lying areas in Florida, and you just got to wonder when the real estate prices are going to hit the wall and people are going to have to retreat. It hasn't happened yet as far as I know, but yeah, certainly I think there is already some places that are uninsurable in flood-prone areas.
And, the insurance industry doesn't mess around. I know, because my life insurance just went up last week. It tripled for some reason because I hit a certain age.
They saw you eating a box of donuts and they're like, damn it.
They heard me talking about Davidson gas station donuts and just bingo. So my other tweet that I was considering had something to do with a politician down there saying, well, we will rebuild. And the other person said, why?
Yeah.
Because, why would you rebuild a place that's destroyed by a hurricane? Do you think it's not going to happen again? I mean, they're happening more frequently and more importantly, more powerfully and slower moving and more damaging, the same hurricanes, because of climate change. Brian, we've got a whole host of feedback this week. Sometimes the mailbag empty, dust bunnies fall out, nothing there, and then sometimes it just rains feedback. So I wanted to dip into it. Here's an email. It says, hey guys, big fan of the show from Martinsburg, West Virginia, USA. Not all of us in bum F Egypt are as narrow-minded as our former commander-in-chief when it comes to the environment. I can't swear on the show. You see, if I swear on the show, I have to change it to explicit. That's a whole lot of paperwork. I can't do that. So just got an email from my power company asking if I was interested in enrolling in a new program they are starting up, which seems to be a solar collective. Do you think these types of programs, the page is very vague, have a place in the future for those who can't afford or non-solar friendly areas like us? Cheers, Tieran Mendez. Now, I looked at it. And basically, if your household uses X amount of kilowatts per month, you pay extra to have solar.
To have clean power.
Now, this is something that we did here 12, 15 years ago at my old house.
Yeah, yeah.
I would pay for extra money for clean energy credits. And we had wind back then, and only wind. We basically still do for the most part.
Yeah.
And a small amount of wind. And of course, they sold out. So they stopped the program. They couldn't do it anymore, or that was their excuse.
But you could pay a little bit extra on your power bill every month and know that, you were getting clean power.
Right. But here's my point. Clean power is cheaper than regular power.
Yeah, right.
So they want to charge you shitloads. Sorry, I swore. Crap loads of money more. And it's like, $40 a month extra just to have clean power, which is cheaper to them than it is the coal power. or whatever, like in West Virginia, solar is going to be, incredibly cheaper than coal. It's like, it's displaced coal as the cheapest form of electricity by far. So my question is, where will the solar facilities be located? So they plan to build, own, and operate 5 solar facilities located within West Virginia on property owned by the power company or its affiliates. They include a 26-acre reclaimed ash disposal site, a 51-acre adjacent to the power substation, 27 acres of retired ash disposal site. This is all coal terminology that I'm not familiar with, even though we do have coal mines here. So yeah, they're reclaiming all this land from coal and putting solar panels on it and then charging people extra. Do you have any thoughts on this? I mean, my thought is, the typical, it says it's for as little as $2 a month, but nobody uses 50 kilowatts a month, and my garden shed uses more than that. You're more likely to spend over $40 a month to have clean electricity. I mean, for that money, I think there's places that will, sometimes you can, if they let you put solar on your roof, you can lease solar for your roof, and for like the same price as electricity, you're not paying anything extra. And then eventually I think you make extra money. Yeah,
it's going to be different in every province, state, every city. It's going to be different. I know around here there is, 1 or 2 solar cooperatives, and that's mainly for people who live in apartment buildings. So you don't necessarily have access to a roof that you can put solar panels on. So a bunch of people can get together and spend, like $100,000 on a solar farm somewhere. And basically you live in an apartment, you can buy a share in that. And, just everybody owns a piece of the action, and, it feeds into the grid, and you get your benefit from, your share of the thing. So, whether this particular one makes any sense, I don't know, but, certainly people should look into this, in wherever they live.
Well, shout out to Martinsburg, West Virginia, and Mr. Mendez for, thanks for writing us. We really appreciate it. So here's another one. Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Landon Ureski, and I discovered your show earlier this year as listening material while taking our newborn for walks to fall asleep, which is interesting, Brian, because I always wonder what people do to, when they listen to our shows. I remember my first podcast in the very early days of podcasting in the early 2000s. Somebody said that they listened to me on the subway in Australia, and it blew my mind. It's like,
wow,
there's somebody doing that to my little show. Like, wow. Commuting, of course, is a popular thing, but taking your newborn out for walks to fall asleep, hadn't thought of that one. And by the way, I listen to podcasts to fall asleep when I want to have a nap. I will, sometimes ours. It's not that they're boring. The more interesting they are, the more I can focus my mind on something and then drift off, right? They can't be too boring.
That works for me too. Yeah, it's got to be something to focus my mind. Yeah.
So I have been listening weekly ever since, he says. The content is fantastic. And given I also live in the same city you do, I find all the commentary very relatable. Now, he says, I'm a business owner, and that piqued my interest, Brian. So I Googled his name and I came up with his LinkedIn page and found out that he owns my favorite pot shop. WID, W-I-I-D. It's actually on the other end of the city from me. Yeah. But they have a great online portal.
Okay.
And, they have a whole crap load of inventory of all kinds of different things. And you can order it and pick it up in your Leaf, your car.
Fantastic.
And little did I know that the pot shop that I'd been supporting supports green energy.
That's great.
And we're always looking for sponsors.
So another.
Remember when we got free beer?
The first plug is free.
That's funny. Brian made a joke. Okay, so he's also a board member of the Saskatchewan Electric Vehicle Association, something I reference here a lot. And he says, I'd love to use the insight on your show to help align my business with sustainable goals and get insight for the association. A fellow board member recently sent me this article I thought would be a great discussion point on your show. And it is from Airdrie Today. Now, Airdrie is a little city north of Calgary, the big mega city of Calgary, Alberta. I wouldn't call it a mega city, but it's a big city, millions of people. And he says,
the Rocky Mountains.
I think it's a great discussion that could be had regarding NIMBYISM, which is, I had to look that up, not in my backyard, ism. And FUD. You want to explain what FUD is again?
Fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
That is things that people put around misinformation and bad information about new technologies to discourage either investment or adoption, and especially in this changing world that people are uncomfortable with how fast things are changing. The fact that municipality rejected tens of millions in investment and permanent jobs due to false information is astounding. Keep up the good work. Now, the story is about somebody who wanted to put up a charging station, much like we were talking about, because it's between two major cities, Calgary and Edmonton. Just like that corridor needs lots of charging with people going back and forth, ours does between Regina and Saskatoon. And this town also ran into problems because they didn't want anything to do with the charging station. Now, they claimed the problem with the charging station, I'll read you an excerpt, okay? It says, this is from the story. Objections raised because they wanted to put a solar installation with it, which is, it's a business decision for them because you supply electricity for someone, you want the cheapest electricity wholesale, right? And that is what it is. So you build a little solar farm for your charging station, for your highway supercharging station. But the objections raised were more to do with the solar than the EV chargers, apparently. It says objections raised included potential noise concerns with the cooling plant associated with the proposed solar farm, which is absurd.
Yeah.
Okay. A person's air conditioner in their home is less noisy than that. And it's certainly closer to people than that would be. Increased vehicular traffic on Highway 72. The solar farm would have increased traffic. I guess people going to see the solar farm or people going to charge their EVs. Next one, taking farmland out of production. This is something that is coming up a lot lately, which is, of course, crap. If the farmer wants to take his damn farmland out of production, he can or she can. And but you could also do mixed use. Farmers don't use every square inch of their land sometimes. Sometimes they have, little bits of land that they mow with, garden tractors that they could put up a huge installation on. And some more speculative complaints about the potential radiation hazards of building such a facility in close proximity to people living in the area. Rocky View County, Alberta, you are officially the stupidest place on earth.
So, is that like solar radiation? Like everyone's going to get a suntan? Is that what they're
Brian,
worried about?
if I knew, I'd be in pain. You think you've heard it all? You think you've heard all the stupidest things that where people get passed around on Facebook? It's just utter BS. And by the way, whenever there's somebody like this, whenever there's people like this, they're always racist, If you're stupid in one way, you're probably a racist too. So screw you, Rocky View County, Alberta. Get off the planet. Go somewhere else. Elon's got a place for you on Mars. Lots of radiation up there. And Brian, I hope you're sitting down because we've got a rare voicemail clip from our SpeakPipe page. Can you believe it?
I cannot believe it. I thought that we should stop doing the SpeakPipe because nobody was calling.
Well, it's crossed my mind too, but this is Sean in Ireland.
Hi, it's Sean from Ireland, Dublin, Ireland. Just want to say, really love the show. Love listening to it every Wednesday when it comes out. There is two big announcements in Ireland in the last few weeks regarding solar. There's no planning permission needed now if you have solar panels on your roof. Before, if you wanted solar panels on your roof, you had to get planning permission, and there's been houses where people put up solar panels, didn't get planning permission, and the government made them take them down. So now you don't need planning permission. And also they've announced that they are going to give schools free solar panels. So a school just applies, and if they're suitable, they will get the price of the solar panels covered 100% by the government. Thanks.
That's fantastic.
That's crazy, right? Why isn't everybody doing that? We often ask questions like that. Schools, perfect place for solar panels, but giving them to them? I mean, and then what do they do with the savings? They can put more money to music programs and educating your damn children.
Yeah, I will say the high school right next to me, where I went to high school, they've actually had solar panels on their roof for about 20 years now.
Wow.
And it was because I think some students and maybe a teacher or two were interested in the technology and they realized it was a good learning experience. So it was about 20 years ago, so they would have been much lower powered solar panels, but still they've been generating power over there for 20 years.
And educating kids, and they could probably look at
kids, absolutely.
the doohickeys to see what the sun is doing, and probably be aware that solar panels generate electricity on cloudy days, for example.
Yeah, and so also the other thing Sean brought up is we got to get rid of the red tape involved in installing solar of clean energy of all kinds. This is a climate emergency. We got to move fast. We got to make all this stuff as easy as possible.
Now, Sean, we're so thankful that we said that we would wish you a happy birthday on your birthday. So let us know when your birthday is. And if not, happy birthday in advance. Thank you, Sean.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. It's lovely to hear your voice. And we love to hear from you. Contact us at cleanenergyshow@gmail.com. We're on Twitter. We're on TikTok. For now, Clean Energy Pod is our handle there. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel for special features. Leave us a voicemail like Sean did at speakpipe.com/Clean Energy Show. It's time for the lightning round, Brian. We have to whiz through this one quickly, and it's a fat one. So it's going to be a challenge to get through. This is a fast-paced look at the week in clean energy news. California becomes the first state to commit to ending the sale of polluting heaters. All fossil fuel heaters are gone by 2030. Not far from now, right?
That's fantastic. And California often sets the tone for the rest of the U.S. on clean energy things. So hopefully other states follow suit.
Clean Energy Canada predicts 184,000 people will be employed in the Canadian EV industry by 2030. 26 times what there was in 2020. And, I think that number is more than the number of people in oil and gas. So that's just EVs. That's not clean energy in total.
Yeah.
That's just EVs. Oh, time for a fast fact. According to the IEA, the International Energy Agency, only 50% of the worldwide market is now using LED bulbs. Outraged, are you?
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. It's, it does take a hell of a long time to change all the... How many humans does it take to change all the light bulbs in the world? There's a joke
I could do them all. I'll start tonight. Come on, people. Unscrew those stupid incandescent bulbs and put in an LED from your local dollar store because they're cheap.
And imagine how much energy will be saved once we do that.
Well, those old bulbs don't last very long. So it's not going to take that long. What do they last? A year at best or something like that? I mean, my God, it's not good. The Nord Stream pipeline, which is, the one that they claimed was bombed or sabotaged, it stopped leaking, but not before emitting the equivalent of what UK cars consume in a year. And there are 1.8 million kilometers of oil pipelines in the world. Some of them apparently leak.
Yeah, so this is the pipeline between Russia and Germany, which has been the site of much discussion and problems in the UK war. But yeah, this is a leaking, and even just in your home, right? Like if you have a gas cooktop, that can leak and release pollutants and ruin the air quality in your house and, contribute to all these problems.
From Bloomberg, the United States utility scale solar is now about 1/3 cheaper than gas-fired power. Wow. While onshore wind is 44% less expensive than gas-fired. This is onshore wind. Which is notoriously more expensive than offshore wind. So solar and wind now present a deflationary opportunity for electric supply costs. Deflation, something I like to hear.
Let's hope those inflation rates come down.
I watched this video by an engineer, a wind engineer, talking about how big can wind turbines get offline. It was very in-depth.
You love that topic.
It's very in-depth, but apparently there's a cost of diminishing returns.
Right.
But I might get to that in a bit. We'll see. Okay. Oh, another fast fact. In 2022, and 600 million people in Africa still don't have access to electricity. 600 million don't have any electricity. and I can go to the hardware store and buy a solar panel and power my camper and lights and stuff and phones. Much of those without power are in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the DRC, Ethiopia, Nigeria, Tanzania, and Uganda. Research suggests that covering all of California's canals, which span roughly 4,000 miles, with solar panels could save up to 63 billion gallons of water. That's just putting them. People say there's no place to put solar panels. You're going to take up farmland, put them on the damn canals, save water, billions of gallons of water.
And I believe they have, started at least one pilot project. So that's what it would look like if they did it all. That's amazing.
Yeah. And there's even some going on in Europe. And they said if you did that, you'd have like 13 nuclear reactors worth of peak output. So that's pretty cool. 13 gigawatts. The 2 Chevy Bolt variants set a quarterly sales record at 14,700. GM says it will increase global production. This is interesting to me, so I'm following it, to more than 70,000 units for the 2023 calendar year, which is almost double the 44,000 this year. So they're selling all the damn things, and they've got to make more because,
Yeah, and presumably they've ramped up their battery supply, which is the other thing. So they presumably have enough batteries to do that, which is great.
And from the Regina Leader Post, our local newspaper, we have an oil ban. New York follows California in banning the sale of gas cars by 2035. That legislation is moving forward, so good to hear. World's largest wind-solar hybrid complex, this is wind and solar in one piece of land, is now 600 megawatts, and it goes online in India. It's the largest hybrid complex, 600 megawatts. Fairly big. Toyota president calls meeting California zero-emission requirements difficult, even though in 2035 you can still have 20% of your new car sales from your company be long-range PHEVs, plug-in hybrids that use gas.
Yeah, well, it's not like Toyota's like a world leader in making cars or anything.
No. I don't know how they could possibly do it. They don't want to. Tesla Giga Nevada to receive recycled battery materials from Redwood's closed-loop campus. That means, Brian, you could buy a Tesla, and people would say, oh, where'd that battery come from? It was mined. Well, some of it might be recycled now already, and that's going to way go up in the future as more become
That's great.
available.
Yeah, Redwood is one of the big players in battery recycling, started by one of the founders of Tesla. But yeah, we were always worried about not having enough supply of, batteries to recycle. But, it's slow but sure, it'll come.
It'll be a closed loop system one day. The Harris Ranch Tesla Supercharger in California, that is the big one, the first one actually, ever, and it's between San Francisco and Los Angeles, will have a 25 megawatt of solar installed. That is 2.5 times the solar farms they are putting in Saskatchewan. Okay? Just for reference. At a very rural part of the I-5, 100 stalls. That's 100 stalls, including some for towing. They're going to have, some stalls. People are calling for that now that the trucks are out. So it's a halfway mark between LA and the Bay Area. So, yeah, cool. The EPA is doubling money for electric school buses, which you mentioned earlier, due to overwhelming demand from all 50 states. Yeah. So the 50 states asked for money, and it was way more than they expected them to ask for. The state, the people, the school boards, the people, they want electric school buses, and they should, because diesel bad for kids. Currently, only 1% of the country's school buses are electric, and you know what? I'm a little surprised that it's even 1%. Like that's more than maybe I would have thought. And Brian, finally this week, I'm going to end on some good news from Assad Razzouk, which I sometimes do, and good news on the climate fight that we could all use this week. Ireland to put solar panels on every school. Okay. Our caller already covered that, James. You didn't need to put that there. But
we broke that news, Assad.
India to go 50% renewables by 2030. Some more India news. We have listeners in India. So they're going to go 50% renewables. That's not bad for a country that said that maybe we can't because we want the middle class to expand. And you guys have already had for 100 years and we're a huge country. But, things may be starting to move along there.
That's great.
That's our time for this week. Remember, cleanenergyshow@gmail.com. We really appreciate you listening. Please subscribe to the show so you get our shows every week. And we'll see you again next week.
See you next week.